As you can see from your program, we have a wonderful panel. We do have Patrick Schueck is on via Zoom. Are we going to be able to see Patrick? Yes, we are going to be able to see Patrick. And we're really excited about this panel. I'm so glad that so many were able to stay. I know the weather is making everyone nervous, but this panel is super special because we're talking around, and it's been picked up of mental health, wellness, leadership. We've heard that throughout the day. So we know all of those are interconnected, and they're interconnected to the various industries. We've only spotlighted to this catalyst. We're going to do more at the next one. So we know that it's critical, and we are so blessed to have Hytrol represented here, Garver, and Lexicon, 3 companies who have made wellness and now mental health even a focus of their company. And so I'm just excited for this panel. Thank you so much. Patrick, I'm going to go to you first. This is going to be testing. Great, look at you. So Lexicon's Strong as Steel initiative has focused on building a resilient workforce and emphasized mental health. Why did you add mental health focus, and how is this program helping shape the culture at Lexicon?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I really appreciate you having me on to talk about mental health. To me, as an individual, it is a huge part of what we've got going on in society right now. And as an employer of choice, we believe most certainly, above all, the best thing that we can do for our employees is to look after their wellness. So we have an in-house health clinic that we started 3 years ago, and I really want to give props to Brian Rutherford, our Chief Admin Officer, for really pushing that through and getting it over the goalpost. We have an on-site health clinic. We operate 5 days a week, and we do a 6th day by phone, where we allow our employees across the country to phone in with their health issues and to get the answers that they need, and to have, they can use their video calls to do examinations and things of that nature. We also have the ability to be able to prescribe prescriptions in just about every state we work in. We're working on a couple that we're not. So when you throw that in there, that was great. And we got a lot of traction out of it because we saw people utilizing it not only for themselves, but for their kids. And we knew when we were affecting the spouse and the children that we really were making a difference in the lives of our employees.
That's fantastic.
So we sat in a conference room one day, and we were talking about what's going on the job site. And we had a couple guys that were just having a rough time. And I said, enough's enough. It's time to cut the mustard, and we've got to start looking after our guys' mental health. I'm man enough to admit that I've struggled with some depression over the years, and it's affected me. And, I've had issues in my life where I just needed to talk to somebody. And let's be real honest, in the construction industry, we're not real good about picking up the phone and asking if somebody's having a blue day. So we realized really quickly we needed to spread the word, and we needed to get out there, and we needed to make it okay to discuss these things in a public forum. And we needed to make it available to people. So we went online and did a video conference. Basically, it was put out on our Lexicon, and I did a video interview and spoke to my instances and how I've used people to talk to over the years to allow me to get past some things in my life to allow for a better, more productive myself. And in doing that, our response was overwhelming. We could not believe the number of calls that we had, and these were all things that were available to us through programs that we had already signed up for, or available to us through our health insurance programs. So we were basically just advertising what was already there, and we were just putting a spin on it and making sure people knew it was available. We went into this thing saying, if we can help one person, if we help one person, it paid for itself. When I say that we helped more than one, it was a large number, and it was anything from multiple visits and discussions with health professional and health coaches to just single calls with individuals to get them through a bad time, or somebody who had lost a parent, or a spouse that was having a hard time with another spouse, or a parent losing people who are having issues during the holidays. So it was really a great program for us. And I got to tell you, probably the most influential thing that we've done over the course of the last 4 years to help spur employment engagement has been this mental health awareness campaign that we went on.
Patrick, would you say that because it obviously it's transforming your culture. I think you've actually seen that and you're saying that, but also do you see it as, not to be flippant at all, but it's an ROI to your financials as well? Because your people are happier.
There is no price you can put on the mental wellness of somebody.
Absolutely.
So to your point, there was no ROI. It was paid for the second that first person called in. So what we see from that more than anything is that we're getting feedback that people, we all care about the people that work with us and for us. We do. People naturally care for one another. But a lot of times people get an image about an executive group and how they feel about their employees, and it usually has a negative connotation. It's real easy to go negative for an employee to have a negative connotation about the executive group and how they're managing as a team. So our ability to be able to open up, relate, and to be able to get in front of this issue, in front of our people, and make them understand not only is it okay to talk about it, but we're promoting you. We're paying you to get out there and talk to people about it to make sure that you're okay. You can't, that culture, you can't create. It just happens on its own because you're truly expressing how much you care about each and every individual employee.
Fantastic. Thank you. Laura, Garver had probably embraced wellness, probably one of the first companies I ever heard in Arkansas. And how long has Garver been around now? This is your
106 years. Thanks for letting me say that.
You're welcome. But it was the first company that I remember back in my 20s and 30s, even creating a wellness program, promoting a wellness program, and you guys now are, nationwide, one of the largest engineering firms in the nation. Talk to us about that origin of that, to what made Garver decide that we're going to go in this direction around wellness, and that you guys have just but exploited it. I mean, it is such a part of your culture. You can't go to your website, to your LinkedIn, to anything and not know that wellness is a top priority for Garver engineers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So wellness is Garver. Those words go together. When we think about the differentiators, then this program, our wellness program, is one of those. And it's really what we use to recruit and retain and engage, but we invest a whole lot of money in it. And that's, I think, the thing that we do that makes us different than anyone else in our industry. Like Patrick, we have 300 to 400 construction observers, survey folks, so they are in the field. So we have created a program that is all-encompassing and what I call inclusive to everybody, trying to be like baby steps to get people introduced to even thinking and talking about wellness. We have some extremists. I used to be one of those kind of in the trail running cults, but if we're out there running, we want to be wearing that Garver logo, and we look at that as, hey, it's not an individual wellness, but wellness really is engagement, and it's our community. It's our community within Garver and outside of Garver. It really came because Garver made the decision to be self-insured, and I want to say this was early 2000s, and so if you know about being self-insured, and if you know engineers, they like numbers and they like analyzing numbers. And so they thought this is the best way that our employees can understand the impacts of their own wellness therefore on our bottom line. And so with that mentality, taking care of our employees, investing in our employees, having them invest in their self, then that has made us the differentiator, I think, in our industry because we're really putting our dollars there.
Oh, fantastic. Phillip, Hytrol, you guys have had a medical clinic for decades now. Huge commitment to wellness, and talk about what was the origin of that for your company and the difference that's made in your culture, with your employees.
So thank you for asking me that question. This is a really special thing that Hytrol does. It's a part of who we are. I love sitting and listening to Garver and Lexicon talk about their investment in their employees, because this is not a topic where you have to worry about the competitive nature of looking for employees. It's about caring for your employees. It's about being a part of that culture of who you are. And when we talk about health and wellness, Patrick did a really good job of mentioning that mental health is a huge part of that. And so if I start with, I'd like to finish with that component if I could. I'd like to start with the fact that we've had an on-site medical clinic in Jonesboro since 1988. And we've done that every single day since 1988, and we continue to invest and learn and grow that. We have a full-time APRN and an RN, and we have 2 doctors, and our families can take advantage of that. As a matter of fact, I've been employed by the company for 25 years. I've been around the business my entire life. My family doctor since 1999 has been the doctor at Hytrol, and I have not had to worry about, the care that I get. And so that's been something that's been really great, and my family's grown up doing that. But we've also had the opportunity to see hundreds and interact with hundreds and hundreds of people who also have that same exact benefit. The beauty of that is that when we went over to Fort Smith a few years ago, that was part of the design is we wanted to make sure that we had the same exact benefits for our Hytrol family members. And when I say Hytrol family members, that's exactly how we feel about each other. And it's not just a slogan that you put on the wall. It's a part of our core values. It's how we treat each other. And so that's the design behind those programs. You have Dan's Health Club. So we have, in Jonesboro, we have a health club that's open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's not always been open that long. It used to be standard hours. We listen to our employees. We adjust that. They have programs that they put on that span everybody's interests. We have big buck contests. We have races. We have lifting programs and things. One of our last programs that we piloted last year was a fitness program that kind of tied back to something we had done before, but it was something where if you're actively engaged in tracking your fitness, then if you do that every month throughout the year and you're consistent and you earn a certain amount of points based on the system that they have, you would receive a check for $500. And we had several people actually achieve that. We then had the program adjusted a little bit because, we talked about meeting students where they are. We talked about meeting employees where they are because of the changing nature of where we are. We changed the payouts to be quarterly, and we said if you're in it for the full year, you'll get 200. So you get 100 each quarter, you get 200 if you're in it the entire year. So you still get the 500, but you actually get those payouts, and you can come into the program later. It's about making sure that you're continuing to evolve. And so when we think about what mental health, like I said, I can't like what Patrick said about what he decided to do with their mental health program any better than I do right now, because it really aligns with what we've done. We saw a need, and our leadership team said, let's find a resource. And so Arissa Health here in town helped us develop a program where we trained 220 employees in an all-day training session. And so we had to stagger them out. I think we had maybe 8 or 9 sessions where we were in all-day training programs, and we became certified in mental health first aid training. That's the recognition of your employees and being able to identify and properly assess your employees' mental health status, and to be able to care for them and get them connected to the resources that they needed to make sure that they were in a safe space and to help them remain mentally strong or get back to being mentally strong. Out of that, we had a second shift employee that came to me, actually a second shift leader. He came to me and he said, hey, I've been thinking over the last couple of weeks, and I've got this employee. He's been struggling with these issues, and I was just wondering if you think we could design this a coin that maybe like people could carry in their pocket, and like if they were thinking bad thoughts or whatever, at least if before they, thought further or went down that path even further, that they could maybe, if they had that coin, that could remind them to call or whatever. We've got an EAP. We've had an EAP for a long time as well, but the EAP is not always that easy connection for employees. And so we took that idea from Garrett Drum, actually, and got with our marketing team. We have a fantastic marketing team, and we developed the Hytrol Cares coin, and every leader has one of these with them, and all of our employees know that you don't have to be a leader to give one of these out. Every employee, if they see somebody who's just not themselves or hasn't been themselves, they don't have to be trained in mental health first aid. All they have to know is that somebody's just not themselves. And so, I know Al Brodell extremely well. If I see that he's not himself and he's working at Hytrol, I can walk up and I can say, I can go to my leader and say, can I have a coin? That leader doesn't question it or anything. He just hands the coin to me. I then go and give Al this coin and say, man, I care about you. You don't have to do this alone. CARE actually has, it's an acronym. We love acronyms at Hytrol. Connect, acknowledge, renew, engage, and support. All supportive words that are action-focused, and on the top, on the front of the coin, it's got our logo and the CARES acronym, but it says, you're a member of our family, reminding them that they're part of the Hytrol family. And then on the back of it, it's got our core values, and it says, you don't have to face this alone. And then the card actually has the details of how to connect to the EAP. And so just something that is a demonstration of listening to your employees, but also saying, hey, you know what? I mean, we hired Garrett Drum to run our second shift manufacturing. We didn't hire him because he's got an LCSW or that he's a mental health expert. He just cares about his employees, and he wanted to do something special for this one specific person. He actually came back as soon as we got the coins in, and he got 2 of them, one for each pocket. I'm just kidding. Bad jokes are part of my program. Sorry. No, he had 2 specific employees, and we like to keep these moving. And so HR has these coins, and if you give one out, you can go back to HR and you can re-up your coin so that you're always there available to support. And it's just a part of who we are. And like I said, I mean, the ROI in this category isn't measured by dollars. It's measured by lives, and it's measured by mental health and being present. But it's also about being your best self when you're there.
I love that. Mark, we're hearing from top leaders at their firms and about the importance and the priority they've placed on wellness and mental health, but also we're hearing that started at the very top, and that it was very important that it was a top-down approach, and to represent that throughout the firm and be vulnerable. So in your role here at A-State, you have seen industries coming to A-State and wanting to figure out how to be collaborative as far as helping develop this inside their companies. So can you tell us a little bit about what you've had the privilege to be able to do in your role at A-State around wellness and mental health and leadership?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, we appreciate our clinical partners, and we always have a needs assessment completed throughout the recent years, as well as meeting with Sam and Michael. They've been great partners at St. Bernard's and NEA. We focus a lot on preventative health care within our program, as well as telemedicine. As well, we received a grant a few years back, and as far as talking about adequate with the students as well on rolling out the telemedicine program. One of the ideas that actually evolved, Dr. Angela Schmidt was back in 2018, and this actually came from our clinical partners with NEA and St. Bernard's, there was a huge need for the psychiatric mental health program, in which I've been very, very passionate about getting up and going. We finally got that program up and going in August of this past year. So there's going to be, currently we've got 42 students enrolled in that psychiatric nurse practitioner program, as well as we started the postmaster certificate. So we're really trying to get the access for mental health out in the rural areas, as well as the family nurse practitioners can come back and complete a postmaster certificate within that psychiatric mental health program. One of our most exciting, as far as our new clinical affiliation agreement, we've just established was at Big River Steel. So we're looking into moving in more into the industry, and then as far as occupational health, we are going to allow the F&P students to start rotating there. We've got some students going there in the spring, and hopefully it will allow them to gain some additional opportunities in, as far as skill sets in occupational health. As the psychiatric nurse practitioner moves forward, we hope to rotate and utilize the telemedicine equipment that we've received the grant money for as well, and do some interprofessional collaboration with social work. Moving forward, we have disaster preparedness at A-State as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for, as far as data mining, research going forward, that we could collaborate with other industry leaders within the area as well.
Fantastic. Jim, A-State's collaboration with Coursera highlights the importance of soft skills like emotional intelligence and grit. How do you see these skills shaping the future of the students, of the business school, and of the community?
Okay. We deal with mental health and wellness in a couple different areas. One, of course, is our students. And as was mentioned earlier in one of the panels, students now tend to struggle with depression more than they have in the past, and we've got to recognize that. When you sit across the table from a mother who has a student who's recovering from a suicide attempt, it becomes real really quickly. So from our perspective, one thing we have to do is recognize those signs with our students and get them to the right places. But we also have a responsibility to help our students develop those skills, especially resilience. A lot of students quickly respond to a bad grade or something like that, and getting them past that and saying it's okay. You know, maybe this one didn't go well, we'll get it on the next one, we'll come back, we'll regroup, and helping them learn to recover from that, because they're going to see that not only in school, but they'll also see that throughout their careers. And they have to develop that resilience to be able to come back to that. We are trying, one of the things we do is we do that through class. We watch for those students who are having problems. We also, again, you mentioned Coursera. We're partnering with Coursera in this upcoming year to provide a lot of training and certifications and some of the soft skills that they'll need. And as they develop, they're also going to be our future business leaders. And as future business leaders, they need to have the capacity to recognize when employees are having issues. And sometimes if you see a performance issue with an employee, it's not necessarily just a performance issue. A lot of times there's something else driving that. So a lot of times you see a performance issue and there's something behind that that you need to get to. So it becomes a what's going on conversation away from the performance to what levels of stress are you seeing, what's going on, what's causing this, because it's not like you. And they need to be able to do that.
That's fantastic. Patrick, is he still with it? There he is. The Strong as Steel initiative emphasizes not only physical resilience, but also emotional and mental strength. So how do you incorporate these aspects into Lexicon's leadership development program of the next leaders in your company?
So we bring everybody in and we have leadership development meetings. We started that this past year. So what we do is we make that a part of that training. We make it a part of the training from the standpoint of what to look for, what to make available to the employee, And we make sure that it's discussed routinely, whether that be in a weekly toolbox talk or a daily toolbox talk, or if that be in a safety message that comes out of corporate. It is basically, and I don't want to minimize it, but it is a huge marketing campaign for us internally. And that's not minimizing it, but that's the vigor that we've put behind it. Because if we stop talking about it, then this is one of those issues that's just going to go away. But the more we keep talking about it, the more we keep making it real, the more people are going to use it as value. And so we hit them up in our leadership training. We hit them up in toolbox talks. We talk about it. We hit it up in our safety messages, which go out all the time. I make a point to bring it up periodically on my site visits. I make it a point to bring it up specifically when I'm in the office or when I'm visiting particular offices outside of Little Rock. And I think it's very important that it does start at the top. And the more that we as leaders can make ourselves vulnerable and not impenetrable, allows for our employees to take a step back and really say, okay, if he's willing to do this, then why can't I? Which is a big deal. It's a thing that I missed previously. In construction males have a suicide rate 75% greater than males in the normal population that are not construction workers. So let that sink in for a minute. And that comes from Engineering News Report. 75% greater is the suicides in males in construction than in males in general population. That's a hard pill to swallow. And, I'm not going to sit here and talk about other trades and what people do. But when you're in construction, it is a hard line of work. It is difficult. It's hard. The hours are long. It can be hot. It can be very dusty. You're up against, a lot of times you're up against conditions that have to do with the elements in the weather. Sometimes it can be dirty. The work is fast. Sometimes the deadlines are ridiculous. But we manage to make it work. But in doing that, sometimes we put ourselves at risk mentally. And having the ability to sit down and talk about it has been a big deal. So
I appreciate that. Laura, you have worked in so many areas across Garver at your time there. So what have you seen as far as how the change on wellness and all has changed over the years and in the various roles you have? And then because of your role today, I really would love for you to kind of touch upon what Patrick brought up about the marketing piece. There is a marketing piece, and I think Garver may do one of the best at marketing wellness. So I would love for you to kind of touch on those things.
Sure. Well, I think one of the things that we try to do is, as you guys said, like respond to what our employees need, and especially after COVID, we saw an increase in our our behavioral and mental health medical claims go up over 60%. So then we altered our internal campaign, right? We said, okay, this is what our employees, this is the behavior. And how can we take that and respond to them? And so we started talking about it at the leadership level, right? Leadership really started talking about it. We incorporated a podcast for mental health. We really started making that just synonymous with wellness. We also incorporated financial health as part of that. So when we talk about wellness, it really is about the holistic person as well as the family, right? Because we know the family is on the other side of that employee, and we want to help take care of them and help them with their challenges as well. And so really that's kind of how I gave myself a job, I think, is developing internal communications. Because when I got to Garver, I realized there were so many good things already in place, like the wellness program, but nobody was talking about them, right? And we probably had a mental health program then, but if our employees don't know about it and are not using it, then it's not a good use of our dollars, even if we're investing in it. And so I remember a very specific leadership meeting where I said, okay, next year, my priority is going to be educating all of our employees about the benefits so that we get a good use of our dollars and they do too. And so it's kept my paycheck going for sure, especially now that, when we turned 100, we were 650 employees, and that was in 2019, and now we're over 1,500 employees. And so keeping all of them connected, and we've talked a lot about students and the different needs of those students and meeting them, but really what we're trying to meet is the people in the field, as well as, our sweet spot. We want to hire that engineer that's got 10 to 15 year experience, and they have needs that are different, right? A lot of them are starting a new family. They're trying to figure out how to invest all their dollars in different places. And so really specifically next year, that's our goal, is the subset of the campaign that we're going to focus on those guys, because it's different than our incoming new hires, our incoming interns that we're trying to recruit over. And so now that we have this population, maybe that's just how I'm going to keep my job, because we figured out, we've got to talk to all of them differently. Even though we have the same benefits package, then they're going to use it differently. And we are very closely watching those trends every year of the utilization of the benefits.
Fantastic. So this question is for you, Laura, and Phillip, and Patrick. So we can start with you, Phillip, and then I'll go to Patrick, and I'll let Laura finish it up. But you were all innovators as far as creating these programs. You've heard from Mark. We now see the steel industry, Big River Steel, others coming to higher ed, coming to Arkansas State University and saying, help us build programs that in many ways are reflective of programs that you guys have developed. So, and to hear Laura speak of, it's not even just simply the graduates that they're hiring into Garver, they have to think about the ones who have been in the industry 10, 12 years. So what can we all learn from each of you and the challenges that you've had, the ones that you're confronting today? How can Arkansas State collaborate with your companies that have these established programs, but also help us have insight for those businesses that you're speaking to in the audience today that haven't made those priorities in their own businesses? What can we say to them to say, get with A-State and ask for this, this, and this? What would be your recommendation?
Well, one of the things that I would say that a company should do is to make sure that they're investing and being intentional about their efforts. I know that Arkansas State's well aware of the fact that we have an individual whose focus is solely academic partnerships. And so Christy Valentine is our manager of academic and philanthropic programs, and she wakes up every single day focused on setting those things apart. And obviously, A-State is our primary focus here in this community on making sure that we work together to not only help A-State know what we need, because what we need is going to be very similar to what Patrick and Laura and the rest of the industries in this area need, but they can help us understand how to identify resources and programs and research projects to help us develop those here and be leaders in our industry and set the standard really for what we're doing. And before Christy's position was something that we had at Hytrol, we were still engaged with Arkansas State. We were still engaged with all of the different academic institutions, but it was not by design focused and intentional and in one location. And we just happen to have a really strong professional that does that very well and happens to know A-State very well, and we both are Arkansas State grads, and so it's special to us at a different level to be able to do that. So I know that all the businesses out here, but also the others that will hear this, won't be able to necessarily say, yes, I'm going to go do that. But find whatever that is for your business size or your business climate and make sure that you dedicate the time and resources and invest in that, because I think that you'll find that when you invest in focused work with A-State on that type of project, you're going to see it come to fruition. Sometimes it'll be slow, sometimes it'll be really quick, I think the bad joke I would insert here is that AI is going to fix everything, so we'll just pour some AI on it, and David would be happy that I said that, by the way. But it's through that hard work and dedication and investing over time that we will be able to partner together and continue to succeed.
I love that the recommendation is have someone in your organization, whether that's their sole job or part of their job, is how do I collaborate with higher ed or workforce development, however that is. Patrick?
Yes. A couple of different things here, because I can take this question and I could go a bunch of different directions. But as we kind of wind up today and being a part of the Catalyst, there's been I've really enjoyed this, and I think it's great for Northeast Arkansas. And as we move forward, we at Lexicon are going to make a more conservative effort to try to team with Arkansas State the way we've done with Arkansas Northeastern College. I believe, as we've gone through our process over the last 4 years, our HR department has gone from basically 3 people to about 8 or 10. And I think that's a very big part of our growth. And it's a very big part of our model, which includes wellness, which includes mental health. And so I think the challenge that I have for state is to be able to go out and look at, we have a hard time finding HR professionals to be able to come into our organization. And we're always looking to grow organic talent. So we would like to see a more conservative effort coming out of a university, whether that be Arkansas State or some other, that put a little bit more emphasis on construction trade human resource management. We hired a chief human resource officer last year, and it has been a game changer for our organization. So that's the challenge. The challenge that I have for the people attending the conference is, walk away from here and don't do nothing. Walk away from here and utilize what we've discussed, what has been brought to the surface, and move forward with it. Because we as a business community, the more that we move together as a group, that's a solution. If we sit back and we independently wait on other people to do things, then that's kind of the problem. So, Tom, my dad always said, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. We need everybody moving in that direction, whether it be workforce development, whether it be mental health, whether it be wellness, whether it be public-private partnerships with Arkansas Northeastern College, whether it be public-private partnerships with Arkansas State. All those things need to be brought forward, and that's going to bring the region forward. So in saying that, I just really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Patrick. Laura?
Well, there are 2 brands that I really love, and the first one's Garver and the second one's Arkansas State. So when those can go together, it's a good day in my world. And I just want it to go together more. I've just been really impressed with all the things that are going on that I didn't even know about with all the companies and all the pipelines. And so my answer is selfish, and that I just want to strengthen Garver's relationship with the organizations, the colleges that are producing STEM graduates, because that's what we need. Everybody has a workforce shortage and is worried about how we're going to get all of our work done. And so I just want to continue to strengthen the pipeline, not only with Arkansas State, but all these great people who are invested in the success of Arkansas.
Okay, before I have some closing remarks, can we get a round of applause for this amazing panel and Patrick via Zoom? Okay, I'm going to read this quickly with just some parting comments and action items. I did not pay Patrick to say that, but thank you, Patrick, for following the script that you didn't even know about. So what a day. I want to thank each of you for being part of this inaugural Catalyst event. Your presence here signifies your commitment to our shared vision of a thriving and collaborative Northeast Arkansas. As we conclude, please take note of a few housekeeping items. Hopefully some of you can stay for a drink. We do have tickets at the back of the room. There's going to be A-State volunteers, so get your tickets. Hopefully that you can network and connect and have a drink on us. We do hope some are able to stay. Our goal is that everything we've learned and discussed today doesn't end with today's event. You'll find a letter in the very back of the program. I hope you'll flip that, a beautiful letter by Dean Washam, detailing how each of you and your organizations can stay connected. For any follow-up ideas, or if you already know ways in which you'd like to collaborate with A-State, you can reach us at catalyst@astate.edu, and that again is in your program, so don't rush to write that down. This inbox, I want you to really hear this, because this is a commitment that's coming down from the chancellor, but he demanded is such a strong word, but he demanded that this email address and this inbox be monitored by his office. So we want you to send your ideas. I don't know that we're going to say the date today, but we're going to have the next Catalyst event. We've already set a date for November. It will be a full day because we had such an overwhelming response for this. So we're going to do this again. It'll be different industries and different topics. We want you to get excited and start preparing for that. If you have ideas for this or want to be a part of this, we want you to send those ideas. We want you to collaborate with A-State. We see A-State as a pivotal part of this community, as are each of you. And so it's all about how do we work together and how do we make everything better together. So let's keep these connections and momentum going in Northeast Arkansas as A-State continues to be a catalyst for change and growth throughout the state and beyond. So thank you so much. Please drive home safe. And if you can, connect with those who are still here, have a drink on us. Thank you so much.